Donald Trump's political rivals are blasting his proposal to ban Muslims from entering the U.S.
The plan is being condemned by Democrats and Republicans alike. Even House Speaker Paul Ryan took a minute to distance the party away from Trump's remarks.
Normally, I do not comment on what's going on in the presidential election. I will take an exception today. This is not conservatism. What was proposed yesterday is not what this party stands for. And more importantly, it's not what this country stands for.
I disagree with that proposal. I like Donald Trump. A lot of our friends here have encouraged me to criticize and attack Donald Trump. I'm not interested in doing so, but I believe we need a plan that is focused on the direct threat.
Donald Trump made the rounds on several morning shows defending his plan for a complete shutdown on Muslims.
Oh, no. I don't care about them. Look.
Well, who do you care about? Do you have to impress anybody but yourself with these ideas?
I'm doing what's right. I don't care. I mean, maybe
how do you know what's right to exempt an entire class of people, an entire religion?
I only know this.
How is that right? How can it be right?
Excuse me, Chris. Can I talk for 2 seconds?
Please, go ahead. But I want you to tell me why it's right in America.
For 2 seconds, Chris?
Go ahead, please.
We have people out there that want to do great destruction to our country. Whether it's 25% or 10% or 5%, it's too much. We have people out there that want to do great. They want our buildings to come down. They want our cities to be crushed. They are living within our country, and many of them want to come from outside of our country. I am saying that until we figure this out, we should have a ban. It's very simple.
Almost every high-ranking member of the Republican Party and candidates, they're all condemning your plan and your comments. Do you see what's happening?
They've been condemning practically everything I say, and then they always come to my side. They were condemning the wall. They were condemning illegal immigration. They were condemning all of the things that I've been espousing, and now most of them are on my side. And the ones that aren't on my side are down to about 0 in the polls, and they're not going to go anywhere.
Senior political editor Steve Chaggaris is here with us now. Steve, Ted Cruz says he doesn't support Donald Trump's plan there, but he didn't really seem to hit too hard against him. What do you make of that?
Well, it's been a pretty consistent answer for Ted Cruz. If you actually go back to when Trump made his controversial John McCain comments back in July, Cruz said almost word for word the same thing. He does not want to criticize Donald Trump. And I think what you're seeing here is Cruz really understanding that people who support Donald Trump are potentially people who could support Ted Cruz. And as you look at him rising in the polls, he doesn't want to offend Trump supporters by going after him like some others have.
Steve, we talked about this yesterday in the moments after Mr. Trump released that statement, and now we've got House Speaker Paul Ryan, who has strongly condemned his proposal. We've got Florida Congressman David Jolley, who called for Trump to drop out of the race. The question that we were asking each other yesterday was, how are the Republicans going to deal with this? Is he changing the landscape of the Republican Party? Now, this is a party, Donald Trump is going to have to work with some of these folks if he wins the nomination. So what do you make of the reaction by the GOP?
Well, again, this is a very, very controversial statement. There are plenty in the Republican Party who don't subscribe to what he's thinking, and then you're hearing that. But at the same time, it's to be expected. People like Jeb Bush and people like Lindsey Graham are running against him in the Republican primary, so it's not a surprise that they're saying things out against him. In the future, who knows? I mean, who knows where Donald Trump is going to be? Is he going to be the nominee? And if he is, how many of these folks are going to drop off and not support him? That would be pretty controversial for Republicans to not go out and support the nominee. You heard Ted Cruz when he was asked at his news conference whether he would support the eventual nominee. He said, "I will, but I expect it to be myself." It's going to be a very, very interesting thing to see moving forward. Historically, people like Donald Trump in the primaries who take these kinds of viewpoints on things, hardline, right-wing viewpoints, don't tend to get the nomination, so it's never really been an issue. Donald Trump's a unique character, though, and his place in the polls has not really wavered since he's jumped in. He's shown strength the entire time, and it will be really, really interesting to see as we go through the caucuses and primaries, and if he starts winning these things and actually shows by March or April that he could very well be the nominee, it'll be very interesting to see how his fellow Republicans handle all that.
Steve, obviously Trump's remarks have sparked outrage, but they also seem to arguably be working to helping his campaign. So let's talk about who are the people who are actually supporting Trump.
Well, there's a couple of things going on here. So generally, the people who support Trump are those are usually men, people who are making less than $50,000 a year. He does well among that group. He does well among folks who don't have a college education. But let's look at what's going on here. Muslims aren't really looked upon among Republicans in a high regard generally. There was a poll out earlier this year that said that a third of Republicans say that Islam is an inherently violent religion. There's another poll that said that showed that Republicans rate Muslims more negatively than any other religion. So he's talking to a group of folks in the Republican Party or Republican voters who might actually, to a certain extent, understand where he's coming from on this. Now, they may not agree with his proposal, but there may be a general understanding where he's coming from on this, and so therefore, it'll be interesting to see. But I'm not sure there will be a lot of damage because of this.
Steve, you've seen this, but I want to play this for our viewers. Presidential candidate Carly Fiorina warned of Trump's electability on Fox earlier this morning. Let's listen.
Donald Trump is Hillary Clinton's Christmas gift wrapped up under a tree. Because if he were to be our nominee, and I do not think he will be, Hillary Clinton will wipe the floor with him. And we will lose the Senate. We may well lose the House. I am the lump of coal in her stocking. I can beat Hillary Clinton, and I can turn this government into something competent that serves its people and protects its nation.
I mean, this is, again, back to the discussion about the very soul of the GOP. If Donald Trump is the Republican Party nominee, with that narrow band of supporters that he has, can he defeat Hillary Clinton?
Well, that's the big question. And it's not just Donald Trump. There are others in the Republican Party that have to answer the same question. And so you look back at 2012 and what happened with Mitt Romney, who went right on immigration and ultimately lost the general election. There were other candidates at the Senate level and other levels who also went hard right during their primaries and couldn't win the general election. And so the party chairman came out and said, we need to be more inclusive during the primaries. We need to speak in a different language as we get our nomination, so that when we get to the general election, we're not having to clean up what we have done. And so Donald Trump's in a situation where he has taken a very hardline stance on a lot of these issues that independents and Democrats don't necessarily agree with. And if he does become the nominee, he's going to have to answer those questions in a general election against Hillary Clinton. It'll be really interesting to see if he pivots or how he pivots in a general election if he does become the Republican nominee.
Steve Chaggaris reporting for us in Washington. Steve, thank you so much.
Thanks.